He dominated the U.S. cycling scene like no one else, and his career spanned 2 decades. They called him the cash register because if there was a sprint, you knew that Davis Phinney was going to win it. He won 2 stages of the Tour de France, a U.S. pro title, a bronze medal at the '84 Olympics in the 100-kilometer team time trial, and as a member of Team 711, he helped open the door for Americans to race in Europe. Check out a little bit on Davis Phinney.
Here are some familiar pictures. Davis Phinney, arms thrust skyward in victory. He's the winningest male rider in Coors Classic history. So successful, they call him the cash register.
Our cycling legend, incomparable, Davis Phinney.
Thank you. See, I see this, and it reminds me of what I got to do so much for, you saw it on that tape. That was kind of fun. Yes. Everybody should do that, you know, with great regularity, is just go, yes. You know, just whatever, like your toast comes up and it's not burnt. Yes. You can make a victory out of anything, I'm telling you. But, I'm really happy to be here. Bob's, you know, been asking me to come out for a few years, and sorry I'm so shaky. I can't touch anything or everything shakes apart, but I used to not be so nervous, but my nerves are shattered. Anyway, he finally got me here, and when I agreed, I didn't know that I'd be coming from Italy, which I came from yesterday. And that sort of explains my faux pas tonight, because, you know, the first guy I run into is Will Ferrell. And, you know, I'm like, hi, how are you doing? And I go, you know, do I know you? Because you look really familiar. And he's just looking at me like, are you from Mars? Jesus, sorry, Will. So anyway, so that out of the way. You know, it's fun to look back at the glory days, and that tape was actually done 10 years ago, and that explains some of the footage from the Coors Classic, which was a very big race in my career, and some of the stuff from the Tour de France. God, these look like bugs. You need that bug off thing, like attack these microphones. So, but anyway, sorry.
We'll hold these for you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. I need my team around me.
We're Team Phinney.
Cycling is a team sport. But anyway, okay, let me see if I can get through this. So, where were we? Cycling, team. Italy. Anyway, but when I look at that stuff and I look at the old days, and you know, I said a lot of good things in that tape about what cycling meant to me then. But you know, you look at it differently as you go on in your life, and little was I to know that, you know, some little crash there, I got a few stitches, was going to be nothing compared to what I deal with now. And yet, I still am able to look back on what was so pivotal in my life, an experience of being an endurance athlete, of being a cyclist. And one of the real lessons that I learned from being an endurance athlete, because I had no endurance by nature. I was very fast. I wanted to get done with everything really quickly. I wanted to get to the finish line of everything and just, you know, like, yes. And, but what I learned from years of doing long races and long, hard training was to have patience. And I think that's something that I didn't really appreciate when I was younger, was that I was developing this patience about the process and about getting things done. And now, I have Parkinson's disease. And so I'm forced to have tremendous patience to do the simplest things, to just, you know, like I had to have Paul Huddle get do my top button on my shirt because my hands don't work. I can't do it. And yet I don't look at it as something that, you know, woe is me. And I feel very strong in where I am with this disease because of my background as an athlete and because of what I was able to accomplish as a cyclist. And I had some great conversations with some folks tonight, especially Scott Tinley, about you know, what happens when the door closes and you got to look around for other windows. And you know, things can look pretty bleak, but there's always those windows. And I really feel fortunate in my life, as I did when I was an athlete. I almost feel more fortunate now because I'm able to find new ways to express myself that aren't through my physical capacity. You know, it's just not there anymore. It doesn't work. And so it's, to me, a very interesting challenge, and it's one that I look forward to taking on. And I would just say that for all of you out there, everybody has challenges. And maybe it's just to win the Ironman or to win your age group. You know, maybe it's just that simple, which I can now say, which I wouldn't have said 10 years ago, was that it's just that simple to win a race. But in the big scheme of life, anything can be a victory. And I think that it's really important to always acknowledge the fact that on any given day, anything that you view, maybe it's a smile of your child, or it's a good training ride or something, but you should acknowledge it, and you should always just, you know, give it one of those. So, you guys are an awesome bunch, especially the triathletes, who I had such a great privilege to get to know and train with in the 80s and the 90s in Boulder. And, you know, competitor and OLN is just awesome. I mean, they've done so much for alternative sports. And lastly, I've got my little camera here because I need to document this, because my daughter, who's 8, I said, yeah, I got to go all the way back to America and get an award. And she goes, oh, Daddy, are you going to get in the Hall of Fame like Mommy? And I said, no, sweetie, I'm not going to get in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, my wife's in like 5 Hall of Fames. And so she goes, oh. And I go, but it's a really big deal, honey. You'll see. I'll bring back pictures. So here, I got my video camera. I pressed on. Everybody hands up. Thank you very much.